Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a first perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, can the Lakers regain their championship form in time? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro Premium community that's launching on February 1st, and also be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com, which we're going to be working on after that. Anyway, let me get into the topic here. So it's been a while since we've done a Lakers video. So today I wanted to touch on the Lakers. It's Friday, so I said let's touch on the Lakers. Now, as we all know, the Lakers are fresh off their NBA title, fresh off of their 17th championship banner, tying the Boston Celtics with the most franchises in NBA history. I think both of those teams have 17 championships together, almost 40 years of winning, like a championship trophies these two teams have, which is incredible. And we all know, excuse me, that LeBron James is off of his fourth NBA title and fourth Finals MVP, right? LeBron James, no matter what you say, his legacy is already cemented. He's pretty much at this point just adding to his legacy, but he's already a top 10 player. In some people's minds, he's a top 5 player. Wherever you have him, absolutely he's a top 10 player, and he's going to go down in the record books. Truly amazing player, and as I said before, and I'll say it again, although I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan, but I do respect how good he is, and also, more importantly, I respect his dedication to his craft. Like that is amazing. Like, he's a hard worker. He seems very focused. Basketball is not the only thing that he does. He does other business projects on the side, but you can see it's not affecting his main, let's say, his passion. Like, he's really puts in the work, and you can tell that LeBron James loves to play basketball, and he doesn't mail it in. Like, he doesn't mail it in. That his legacy truly means something to him. He seems like a guy that's very focused. There are a lot of NBA players in the past that I've touched on that are not focused, but for LeBron James, he seems like a very focused guy. You never really hear any stories about the guy. The guy just seems like he goes about his job, and he understands what his position is, and he understands what's expected of him. So I tip my hat to LeBron James in that way, because I respect serious people. So kudos to him. Now, another thing though, this Lakers team is a little bit different than the team that they were last season, right? Because this season they lost some, in the off season, let's say, they lost some key contributors. They lost some key players like Dwight Howard. They lost Danny Green. They lost JaVale McGee. This is some good defensive stalwarts, rim protection. They gave a lot of athleticism at the rim, and they lost a great on the ball defender in Avery Bradley. However, Avery Bradley did not play in the playoffs, so he didn't join them in the bubble. So his impact wasn't really felt. So it's hard to say, what they truly lost. And as well, they lost Rajon Rondo, who you cannot forget, who was probably their third best player in their championship run last season, because he was hitting some big shots and making some, big time plays. And obviously the things that go beyond what he's doing on the court, things that he does on the sideline that we're not aware of. But they were able to add some key pieces in Marc Gasol, who was supposed to supplant Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. They added Dennis Schroeder, who's a great scoring point guard that can also play great defense. They added Wesley Matthews, who's also a defensive player, I guess to replace kind of the Avery Bradley and Danny Green, and also Montrezl Harrell, who was a former Clipper, former sixth man of the year, who was averaging like over 18 points per game and 8+ rebounds. So they added these guys to their team. They lost some of their size in some ways, but they also got younger, right? They got younger. Now, they got off to a red hot start this season, and they were playing pretty well. And the Lakers were beating the teams that were in front of them. Although they had a very soft schedule to begin the season, they were not playing very good teams. To be quite honest with you, they didn't play strong teams. But nevertheless, to show you teams that are serious and focused and are about trying to win championships, they don't drop the games they're not supposed to drop. They beat the teams that were in front of them, and they played well, right? And they got off to a red hot start. And I said that the Lakers and the Clippers were the two best teams in the NBA. The Lakers are a great defensive team. Let's just be honest. They can score, but they also play great defense. If I go and look at their numbers this season, it's a team overall. They are averaging 113 points per game, but they're holding opponents to 104.8. Right, so they have a very healthy differential in scoring. If you take outside last night's game, I'm sure that number, defensive opponents at PPG, would have been a little bit lower. But the Lakers have been a good team because they have a defensive-minded coach. and Frank Vogel, and they understand the importance of defense, how defense can help you win games when sometimes your offense is off. Now, they had won 8 games on the road this season. They were undefeated on the road prior to them going on their road trip, right? They had won 8 games on the road, which is they were perfect on the road this season. And however, they didn't have such a strong home record. If I go and look at the standings right now, and I just take a peek at take a peek at their winning, how they won these games. They were 4-4 at home, so they were 500 at home, which is surprising, but they were 10-2 on the road, right? So they had actually won 10 games on the road, which is very, very impressive. But also, it's something that championship teams can do. Now, granted, we don't have fans in these arenas, but you're starting to see some fans trickle in some of these games here. But the Lakers are doing what they're supposed to do, and they had a pretty good record. Now, they lost a very close game to the Philadelphia 76ers, right? They lost a pretty close game, buzzer beater, pretty much a buzzer beater shot by Tobias Harris. Hit a pretty tough shot over one of the Lakers defenders. I forgot his name. I forgot the guy's name that he hit the shot, although he got the pick and got the switch. So he did that, got LeBron off of him, and was able to hit that shot. I heard Nick Wright on TV saying that only Nick, God, Nick Wright, man. Only Nick Wright can see his team lose and then say, oh, it's actually worse for the team that won than the team that lost. Who do you know can say something that stupid? Who do you know? And his point is, because they blew a lead and then the Lakers came back, but who won? Right? Like, Nick Wright says some of the most. Anyway, let's forget about Nick Wright. The Lakers lost that game, right? In the grand scheme of things, games are won in different ways, right? Every game has a different storyline. Who cares whether or not they lost? I'm sure the Lakers, they would have wanted to win. I'm sure they didn't walk out of that game feeling like, okay, although we lost by 1 point, we should feel good. No, I don't think the Lakers thought that. The Lakers expect to win. They're a championship team. So I don't see what the positives in losing are. But that's Nick Wright for you. Then they went to go play the game last night versus the Detroit Pistons. And let me see here. And then they lost to Detroit 92-107, right? So they dropped 2 games in a row. They went from being the number 1 seed to the number 3 seed, right? Now, a few things. Let's just delve a little deeper here. Let's talk about LeBron James. LeBron is averaging 25.5 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. He's shooting 50% from the field, virtually 49.6, 50%. 42% from the 3, virtually 41.7%. And he's getting you close to 1 steal a game. Here's the thing, though. LeBron James is 36 years old. If LeBron was averaging 20, 7 and 7, no one would complain. But the guy is so good that he's able to put up these type of numbers at this age. LeBron James is carrying this Laker team. If you take LeBron off this team, you're going to have the New Orleans Pelicans. And this brings me to Anthony Davis. Certain people feel a way when I said that Anthony Davis is not that dude. Some people were fooled into believing that Anthony Davis was the second best player in the world. AD was never the second best player. If we're talking about talent, sure. Is he probably the talented or one of the top 3 most talented basketball players in the world? Sure. He definitely has the talent. But we're looking at productivity and results, right? This is why, again, I say Nick Wright says a lot of stupid things on TV. Nick Wright put Kawhi Leonard in his 3rd tier and Luka Doncic in his 2nd tier because Luka Doncic has better numbers. Yeah, Luka Doncic has better numbers, shooting a more horrible percentage than Kawhi. But most importantly, what are those numbers translating into? If they're not translating into wins, it doesn't matter. AD right now has taken a step back. And I know a lot of honest Laker fans are going to admit this. Fans that are not honest, they won't admit it. AD is averaging 22 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, right? He's shooting 52% from the field, 32% from the 3, and getting you 1.9 blocks per game and 1.3 steals. If you look at those numbers, you say, oh, that's great. However, last season, he was averaging 26 points per game. He was shooting and he's shooting 71% from the free throw line this season. Last season, he shot almost 85. So he's about 14 percentage points down from the free throw line. He got you more rebounds last season. He got you He got about the same amount of assists. He got more steals and more blocks. Now, Anthony Davis is 27 years old. right? Anthony Davis, 27 years old, and he's not even playing good enough. Let's just be honest. And I said it before and I'll say it again. This guy cannot be the guy that's going to carry the Laker tradition and carry this franchise in the future. He's not the dude. He's not aggressive enough to be that type of dude. Some people made the argument, is AD a better player than Giannis Antetokounmpo? Well, it depends. What do you mean by better? Because Giannis puts up gaudy numbers, AD puts up great numbers. But if AD is more skilled than Giannis, but if AD had the mentality of Giannis, AD would probably be the best player in the world, but he doesn't. This is the problem. AD is not playing up to the level that his co-star LeBron James is, and it's hurting the team. Right now, LeBron is carrying the team. Go look at his scoring output and his productivity over the last 3-4 games. He's been the one carrying the team, and fine. He's good enough to do it. But you're putting too much pressure on this guy. You're putting too much pressure on him, and AD needs to pick up the slack. Simple and plain. If AD does not play at the level that he played last season, in the regular season, and in the playoffs last season, when I thought he could have won the Defensive Player of the Year, or been one of the people in contention for regular season MVP, if he doesn't play to that level, the Lakers are not winning the championship again this year, because the field got better. The Clippers got better. Other teams got better, right? He needs to play better. It is plain and simple. So can they regain their championship form? Absolutely. I think LeBron James is going to be the driving force of that team, as he's always been. People felt the kind of way when I said AD rode the coattails of LeBron. I mean it in this way. Would LeBron have won that title without AD? Absolutely not. But LeBron James is already a top 10 player of all time before him and AD ever stepped on the court. What was AD? Is AD even a top 40 player? He's not. I'm sorry, he's not. He's not. AD and the New Orleans Pelicans did nothing. He had Rajon Rondo, he had Drew Holiday. They did nothing in all those years. And you see him get with LeBron James, and all of a sudden he becomes a champion. Like, AD needs to play better. So what I want to know from you guys, especially the Laker fans who are going to watch this video, do you think the Lakers can regain their championship form if AD starts to play better? And do you think AD is going to pick it up? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up on the channel. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.